Texas is a very go-get-em kind of state, not only in terms of just philosophically, but also personal philosophy. And I think that individuals that have keen initiative can make it anywhere, but in Texas, there's almost a spirit that you can do it. And not only is it important to understand that the number of cheesemakers have grown, but also the quality of the products that the cheesemakers that have been in the business over a period of time are producing has just gained a lot of momentum. Texas being as large as France, I think there's an opportunity to have a lot more happening here, and I'm really proud of that. Well, I think the Whole Foods Market customer is a very different customer. They will read everything, they will know everything. It's a very highly educated, very well-traveled customer and guest base. And so I think that our customers are very concerned about all aspects of cheese. Not only are they going to be aware of what's going on nutritionally with the product, they're also going to ask about full traceability. How are the animals treated? What are they being fed? How are they raised? What goes on with the cheese when it gets to final landing place? How do we take care of it? So they're very inquisitive, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Well, I think the role of a cheesemonger is at the point now, not only is it critical, but the level of knowledge needed to communicate about an individual product, especially a product that basically has 4 ingredients that can be so dynamically diverse. Someone really has to understand so many components. And we've been really committed in Whole Foods Market to education of the cheesemongers. Currently, we have 147 certified cheese professionals, a lot of them in the state of Texas, that have gone through the criteria and the exam with the American Cheese Society to say, hey, this person does have the education and background to be able to communicate effectively and represent our producer partners. And I think that's the key thing. The cheese at the end of the day must be high quality and talk to the customers. But there's got to be that synergy between understanding not only about the animal, about the cheesemaker, and how the product gets to you, and finally how to take care of it. We're really proud that we still produce in-house. There's not many of us that do. Well, I think the people are just so very interesting. Cheese is a product that you have to have science, you have to have art, and you have to just be willing to throw recklessness to the wind to be able to create something that represents you. And I think there are not too many professions where you can combine all of those skills and have it reflected in a product. So I think that people are looking for changes. There's an evolution with getting back to locally sourced product. There's a movement around high quality product, having it close to home. And I think the expression through food has been there through centuries. Basically through our history, I mean, there have been all types of food that represent regional cultures. And I think the expression of an artist through milk is really interesting because of all the chemical nature and background, the humidity, the terroir, the natural environment that you're producing in. It's not one thing you have to manage. It's a dynamically diverse set of different variables that you have to manage. So someone has to be creative, someone has to be really smart, and someone has to really care about what they do to produce a good cheese. It's not a simple product to make. I think the first thing to understand if you want to be a cheesemaker is that it is, in this food safety environment, critical that you understand all the components of health associated with manufacturing of food, whether it be cheese or anything. And cheese being an agricultural product, I think a lot of people forget that. There's a couple things that are critical. Number one, do an internship, work with someone that makes cheese to be able to have a partner through that journey that understands the questions you're really asking. Number two, understand that your raw ingredient is your highest priority. Always source the highest quality milk that you're going to use to make a final product. So that's very critical. And then you really need to understand all the federal and state regulations around production of milk products, because dairy is very regulated and you need to have everything in place. And most cheesemakers are very scientifically minded. It's a combination of things. It's not a creative process. It's also a process where you have to document. You have to be aware of latest legislation. You have to be aware of the most recent health concerns. And I think it requires attention in a lot of areas. So just understand it's not about making cheese. It's about understanding every other aspect that could potentially impact you. And lastly, you've got to sell it. So you can do all those things and have a great cheese, but then you have to understand how that product is really going to translate to a customer.
If you could eat a cheese every single day, just one type of cheese, and you never get tired of it, what would it be?
Well, I probably am like a lot of people that I like texture in food, so I like cheese mouthfeel. So I do like a lot of semi-soft or heavier cream-style cheeses just because I like that really rich mouthfeel where you have all different levels of complexity coming at you. So I would say those semi-soft, soft-ripened to semi-soft cheeses are things that appeal to me every day. But, you know, I love fresh cheeses. I love aged cheeses, Alpine cheeses, cheddars. They're all different personalities, so it's like talking to a friend every day. Cheeses I could have in front of me every day, there's a lot out there. I mean, Pure Luck Dairy's feta is something I could eat every day in a different way. And I tell Amelia this and Ben that how much I love their cheese. They absolutely know it. I mean, anyone that asks me, I'll say it's a hidden gem in the United States. I'm certainly so passionate about cheese, as you've probably gotten through the years, but certainly the Texas cheesemakers, I'm very proud of the evolution and the quality of cheese they're making. They really represent the state and the communities very, very well. I think they're doing great on the national stage, and I just look for continued good things from them and from all of the cheesemakers in all of North America. I'm just really honored to be able to represent their cheeses to the final end user, and keep doing it and keep coming. We love them.